Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Tea Talk with Goodness Usman, your number one real estate talk show in Africa. Thanks to each and every one of you who keep watching every Sunday when we upload a new episode. Of course, I'm delighted to be here with you guys today. Now, for those of you who are new subscribers to this channel, I want to say to you, welcome to the family. We're excited and we are happy to have you on board. Now, some of you are already watching our content, but you're yet to subscribe. Come on, what are you waiting for? How about you hit the subscribe button now? Hit the like button as well and share this video and all of our videos that we have on the channel. Yes, all of the video. I was saying thank you to you in advance. So if this is your very first time of watching our show, I want to specially welcome you and tell you to sit back, relax, because today you're going to learn, you're going to unlearn, and also be what? Be here and also have some level of fun. Now, this is our regular procedure right here on the show. We, of course, enjoy a moment sharing tea together because there is no tea talk without that tradition. So before I go into the topic of the day, let's quickly observe our tradition. Okay, I am here with my cup of green tea. So wherever you're watching me from now, whether from Europe, UK, Canada, US, Asia, wherever in the world that you are watching me from, even if it's Nigeria, African down here, I want you to grab yourself maybe a cup of green tea like mine, or a glass of water, a glass of wine, juice, beverage, whatever rocks your boat, okay? And let's have this conversation. Let's share tea together. Honestly, this moment is always very, very beautiful. I don't know about you guys. For me, it means a lot to me. Coming here every Sunday and sharing these moments with you guys is really, really a good one. And I want to say thank you to you guys. So shall we? The last one, yes, I promise. Here we go. All right, that was a beautiful moment shared with you guys. All right, so let's get into the topic of the day. Now, today, I just want to take you guys through the basic procedures of that you have to go through when you invest in real estate, when you're buying a property or a house. Okay, now this is based on most of the properties we have listed in our portfolio in Nigeria. So this means that it can be different and it varies from companies to companies or location to location. Now the family, we're growing on this channel, our subscribers, and we have lately quite a number of new subscribers, and we realize that some of them are new investors in the Nigerian real estate market. So they don't understand the procedures, they don't know the A to Z of how the entire process works. So I'm just going to run us through the process. For those of you who have been investing before, it's just going to be like a brush through, like a reminder kind of, and something that just goes back your memory of what you already know. But then this is targeted towards those people that are new or intending to come into this market. So, and this is going to be about whether you're buying a house or you're buying a land in this market. So market means on the island, some part of the mainland, Lagos, or majorly with the developers that we work with. This part of town, the developers that we work with in Nigeria 24/7. Again, I'm going to sign a note. Please don't assume that all of these processes I will take you through is the same for every real estate developer in Nigeria. It varies, okay? Every company with their own processes, okay? So I'm just going to run through it very briefly, and if you have any question, just contact me and let me know. Of course, again, we usually say it on the show that if you're interested in knowing more, you want us to discuss or shed light on a certain topic, you should put it in the comment section. And I always promise you guys already know, for those of you who are OGs here, you know that I will always treat it and come out here to discuss it, share my own insights to, or clear and give insights or knowledge to the topic you have talked about. So please share with us in the comment section and we're going to be taking notes. All right, So quickly, it is the processes that I call it the 8Z process when you're buying a land or house in Lagos, Nigeria, or in Nigeria generally, but it still differs. Okay, so first of all is you knowing what you want. That's my number one. Now, this is me. This is our own processes in Nigeria, which is impossible, formulated by us with how it's been done with most of the developers that we work with. So, number one on my list is you, first of all, knowing what you want. Okay, usually this is the part where a lot of people get it wrong. They come into the market and they are confused. They don't know what they want. They don't know if they know the kind of house they want. They're just, everywhere. You must be able to know what you want. At least have an idea of what you want. You might not have a full idea of what you exactly want, but you should have some sort of idea of what you want. Oh, I want a duplex. I want a terrace. If it's a duplex, is it a terrace? Is it a semi-detached? Is it a fully detached? Oh, I want an apartment. Oh, I want a bungalow. I mean, I've heard people who tell you, I don't like apartment for anything. So such a person who is so sure and definite will not be looking to buy an apartment. Or when you're talking about an apartment, the person will not really, really be interested in it. And if such person eventually changes their mind, it means that I have to do a lot of convincing for that person. So know what you want. And then in knowing what you want, what you're out there looking for as an investor, the B part of that is also you should have a budget. Okay, have a budget. Now, have a working budget. Now, in this part, I always say that investors also should be very, very careful, because I see this budget thing causing a lot of issue, headache, stress, frustration for some investors. And the reason is that they get close-minded when they have a budget. Now, having a working budget makes a whole lot of sense. It makes it easy for you. It makes it easy for the realtor that you are working with. But, please, I beg you in the name of God, do not have a budget and be close-minded with it. I will say that again. Don't have a budget and be close-minded with it. Now, what I mean by that is people will say, oh goodness, I'm looking to own a terrace within Aja and all I have to spend max is 60 million naira. Now, why I say people should be open-minded is you can say, yeah, 60 million naira is what I'm working with, but I'm a bit flexible. You could get, something less than 60 million or slightly above. But when people are close-minded, it's like, no, if it's not 60 million, I will not get. And then when they get into the market, get into this conversation with you, and you now say, oh, Aja, first of all, in Aja, you cannot find a terrace or duplex for 60 million. First of all, their development comes because they're already close-minded at the location as well, about the location. So don't be close-minded with the budget and also the location. So be open-minded, come into the market and ask questions. Ask me, goodness, so with my 60 million, give me a figure, or give me the market's rate. Where will I get this? What will this get me? So as much as it's good for you to know what you want, you will know your budget, you have a working budget, be open-minded. I think that's going to be point number C. So point number C, or number 3 in this case, is be open-minded. Yes, as much as it is good for you to know what you want, it is good for you to have a working budget. Be open-minded, because especially for those who are coming into the market for the first time and they have not really done any research. Some people have done research and they've concluded that, oh, okay, with 60 million naira, I should be able to get this in this location. Those people are there. Then at that point, there's nothing called being open-minded or being close-minded. But a lot of the time, those of you who are yet to carry out your research, please be open-minded, because you will be disappointed that your amount or your stipulated budget will not get you your chosen location. And then you see people say, no, I'm not going to buy it again, I'm not going to do this again, and all of that, because they're so disappointed and kind of frustrated. They just let it be. And it's hard for you to now convince somebody that is disappointed to say, oh, your 60 million can only get you a terrace or an apartment, in Ibejuleki, in Eleko, and the person is looking towards Aja. Look at the distance between Aja and Ibejuleki. Now, when you know what you want, you have a budget, you now find the property. So let's say you already know that you want a 3-bedroom apartment in Abijo GRA, and you come to me, I give you the avocado. Now the next step is you also getting all of the details. Now, I still hear people in this age and time say, oh, they don't put all the cards on the table. Some I've spoken to some realtor or some real estate agent, they didn't put the card on the table. They just told me, oh, a one-bedroom apartment in the avocado is selling for 60 million naira, and that's it. They didn't tell me that 60 million naira is only the cost of the apartment, and we need to pay for deed of assignment, survey, and developmental fee. Do you understand? So a lot of the time they didn't get that information. So you also need to ask the question, okay, this property or this land, is it all inclusive or not all inclusive? Now, this tricky part of all inclusive. Now, recently in the last 2 years, the all inclusive is not a thing. Before around 2020, it wasn't a thing. You will see prices not all inclusive because of the way investors comes and say, oh, so why are you guys not putting all the fees together? I just want to know how much everything is. Like, for instance, Marbella, right? The Marbella is all inclusive, meaning the cost of, 197 million will get you 1,000 square meter of commercial plot. Now, that is all inclusive, meaning the land is included, the survey cost is included, the deed cost is included, the developmental fee is included. In such a property, when you pay that 197 million naira, you don't get to pay anything again. All you get to wait for is allocation. So find out these figures, what it is. Give me everything. Let me know what I'm going into, which is where you being open-minded can help you. Because if you stick to a 60 million naira budget, you will eventually get that what your 60 million will get you. But you also need to know that aside that 60 million naira, you're going to pay some other money, maybe some extra 7.5 million naira or 10 million naira, as the case is, right? Or maybe your 60 million naira is all in. So ask that question. Be sure, let everything be laid down for you. Now, by the time everything is laid down, another critical question you should ask is the terms and condition. Now, terms and condition includes the payment plan. Okay, what's the payment plan? Is it with interest? What duration is without interest? Because some people also mix this part seriously. Some people say, oh, the 60 million naira for one bedroom apartment, you said there's 24 months payment plan on the avocado apartment, so 60 million naira is for 24 months. Get this point well, get these figures right. Of course, if you are buying the avocado and you are going for a 24 months payment plan, 60 million naira won't take you 24 months. If you're going for 24 months, you will pay interest. So you need to understand the terms and condition, meaning there will be interest at a certain flexible payment plan duration. So it is important that all of that is spelled out. So for you as an investor, when you know what to ask, the right question to ask. So just in case you're working with a realtor who will not spell everything out, who is not very detailed, you get to save yourself the headache by asking the right question. And this is also where it is important for you to read the FAQ. You know, sometimes you work with some realtors, they send the FAQ to you, so people don't go through it, they don't read it, they don't digest it. A lot of the time when the FAQ of a company is sent to you, you are supposed to read and digest and ask questions where you don't understand. Because all of these things I talked about right now is always spelled out mostly in the FAQ. You know, you see some people read the FAQ and still ask questions just to be sure that what they have read is true. But a lot of the time, but let me assure you rather that when you read something in an FAQ, it is binding. Because remember, the FAQ has a place where your name is and you're going to sign. So it means that you have read, you have understood, and you have signed it. You are bound by that by law, okay? In terms of that particular transaction. Now, when you have all this information and you're okay with it, and you now decide what you want exactly, and this also applies to land, though it's not just houses. Land also is that I mentioned the Marbella, Luxury and Smart Estate today. Those are land, yeah. The same thing with, like, for instance, if you look at Lakeview now, Lakeview is not all inclusive. 18 million naira for 500 square meter is just the cost of the land. You're still going to pay extra for survey, you're going to pay for deed of assignment, and you're going to pay for developmental fee. So get those facts right. When you now get to this point where you have gotten that fact right, you now decide, oh, I'm buying 1,000 square meter, I'm buying commercial, I'm buying residential, I'm buying apartment, I'm buying duplex, I'm buying mansion. Mention all of those. They will be sent a form. So this particular category part, so this part, for some companies, majority of the companies we work with, they already have a subscription form, and which, before you get to this level, I talked about FAQ. The subscription form is always attached to the FAQ. They would have sent it to you. The writer would have sent it to you. So you now decide. As soon as you have decided, right, you fill the form, put your passport, and send your filled form back. Of course, in these forms also, what it carries is also carries the account number. Please don't pay. Of course, I don't know. I don't think anybody does that anyway, but I'm just going to mention it. And it's also written in the form. Don't pay to any individual. You can't pay to Goodness Usman. You just pay. If you're buying from FKC, pay to FKC account. You're buying from Landmark, pay from Landmark. Gracias, pay to Gracias. Standard Property, pay to them. Which other company is there? Very Stasi, pay to them. Bobo Tibo, ABC and C, pay to the company. They always spell it out. All of them spell it out. So you pay to the company, and then you will now attach your evidence of payment with your duly filled form. I will lay emphasis on duly filled form. Some people don't fill their form properly. You know, for us in Nigeria, we try to pay attention to the things that others are not paying attention to. And I'm going to really talk about this. What do I mean by duly filled form? You know, when you're filling your form, there are categories. You need to be sure that your name is well filled. Now, I have cases of people who buy property as spouse. Okay, Mr. and Mrs. So don't say, Mr. and Mrs. Goodness Usman. No, it has to be Mr. and Mrs. Adebayo Mutiu Usman and Oyindamola Goodness Usman. Do you see what I did there? My two names, Oyindamola and Goodness, is involved. The husband's name, Mutiu Adebayo. This is just an example. I'm not married. But it's just an example. Because somebody will just hear me and assume that I'm a married man. Yeah, you marry. Usman is my father's name. But I mean, for the sake of this conversation, you have to put your two names, because if you say Mr. and Mrs. Usman, or you say Mr. Adebayo and Mrs. Goodness Usman, there can be many Goodness Usman anywhere. There can be anybody, can be a Mrs. Goodness Usman or a Mr. and Mrs. Usman. Do you even know how many Usmans is in this Nigeria? You cannot count how many Usman. And they, in fact, especially when I put Goodness Usman, it's not so common because of the way the name is. But when I put Oyindamola Usman, hey, Jesus Christ is Lord. A lot of the time, when I put my full name, I happen to share three names, right? I have Oyindamola, I have Adiola, I have Goodness before my surname, right? That's where I get to be saved in so many things. Because you will easily find someone who bears Oyindamola Adiola Usman. You will easily, in fact, my God, I remember when I was in NYC, right? I mean, it's a very common name. Do you understand? The same way your Adebayo Mutiu can be common. Do you get? So it is better to rightly put your name. Now I know over time, what we get is, the subscription form does not take all the names. Please, on top of the form, there's usually one space. Write everything there, or write it. And I tell my clients that work with me, they know. I'll tell you to write the full name the way you want it, the way your names appear, your full names. At least minimum two names before the son name. Everybody has two names before their son name. So put your two names, Mr. Adebayo Mutiu Usman and Mrs. Oyindamola Goodness Usman. Write it to me. When I'm sending your form to the company, I will now write it in the body of the email. Please note, this is the way the name must be spelled out. And that's why when they generate your receipt, you must also check, is that name correct? It is very important. It is important. I cannot overly lay emphasis on this. It is important. Please. Okay. Now, another important aspect of this form is next of kin. In fact, I had decided that we're going to treat it on the entire segment, which is this falls under our lawyer category. Unfortunately, but we're going to we're picking up a lot of things in 2025, God willing. So this is the things we will break down on our legal segment on this show. But let me just say this. List of kin is important. Some of you, when you're filling your form, you're not paying attention to it. I mean, this happens. In my entire experience, I've not had so much of this, but I pray I don't. It was a terrible experience for me where I lost a client. He bought this land and then he unfortunately passed away. And then the next of kin, somebody called me and said that he is his next of kin. And when he filled the form, that was not the person. He became, honestly, it was dramatic. It was really dramatic and traumatic for me. It took me a whole lot of work to get away from that trauma, because I was also pained for the fact that a young man like that, I mean, death is inevitable. We don't pray for it to happen, but these things happen. So when you're filling the form, please be careful who you want to go as next of kin. Your spouse, in fact, some people will say, oh, I will use my name. Some, if man and woman is buying property, they'll say, oh, I'll use my name. The husband will use the name, and then the wife is the next of kin. That also works. You don't have to do Mr. and Mrs. And you see some people do Mr. and Mrs. and put their children. So please, so that your family member somewhere, maybe your younger one or your, I don't know, your relative is thinking, oh, I'm their next of kin, and God forbid if something happens, you now come and start being dramatic. The company will not even listen to any drama anyway. It is what is on your form that they will follow. They have documented it. Now you don't know that these documents are important because I mean, but funny how I learned from that experience. I have been proud of that time. I've had certain people ask me questions. Maybe some people ask me that kind of question. I know Ethiopia Nigeria does not want to go there. But when it happened to me, this was in 2022. Oh my God, may God rest his soul. It was a different whole experience, and I personally even learned from it. I'm like, oh my God, even me in my, even the bank as well. I've had situations where, when my dad passed on, the next of kin, boo-ha-ha, and all of that. So I just wanted to say that when you're filling the form, don't take that next of kin for a joke. Be serious. Now, this is also very important if you're a single person. I'm single and I have some properties, right? You have to take that next of kin serious, because truly, if anything happens to you, that next of kin has the rights to that property, and it's no joke. So don't put your next of kin that you put when you are traveling and say, who do we call in case of emergency if a plane crash or there's an accident. That's not the next of kin we're talking about. The person you want that property to go to, go is what we're talking about. All right, we'll get more details, break it down, why and all of that on our legal segment. So yeah, moving on. You have filled the form correctly now. You have read it, you have signed, you understand, you have your evidence of payment. You now do your initial deposit, right? You now send the evidence of payment and the form to me. When you send it to me, I then now process it with the company. Now, when I process it with the company, there are two categories here. Some company, like for instance, I'm going to use Legrand as an example. For Legrand, you will fill the form, send it to them. They will now give you an offer letter. I think Veristasi used to do it. I don't know about now. I don't know about now. But I think they used to do it, and their own is different. But I'm just going to stick with like Legrand for this example. Legrand, the owners of Alexander Court, they would issue you an offer letter based on your form filled. Not necessarily with an initial deposit. I have clients who just go ahead, fill the form, and do the initial deposit, and then Legrand then do an offer letter. But for their normal procedure is you will fill the form, so they have your details. It is that details that you have filled on the form they will use to give you an offer letter, and after which you read through the offer letter. Every terms and condition is written in that offer letter. Then you can now go ahead and pay your initial deposit, maybe 30%, 20%, or 40% as you were. Okay? Now that is just Legrand in our portfolio. I know some properties, also some high-end properties in Ikoyi, Lekki, they do that as well. Some of these one-on-one developers, that is, I feel like that is even the norm. Okay? That's the norm. It's not like I feel like that is actually the normal process. But for this set of developers we work with, I think we just jumped that process of writing offer letter, going back and forth and all of that, because they have numbers of, when you have a lot of property and you have the numbers of people investing all the time. So they just jump that process. You just fill the, so for this other landmark, efficacy, standard property, to name a few, that we are working with, once you fill the form and you have your initial deposit, send it to me, and then process with the company. Now the company will take your details, they will now open a file for you, and then they will now issue your receipt, issue your statement of account, and send you contract of sale. Now, not every real estate developer do statement of account. Landmark, Gracias, they do statement of account. They do receipt. Efficacy does not do statement of account. They do, if you request for statement of account, they'll give it to you. But on the norms, what they just do is they just issue you a receipt, okay, and then contract of sale. Now, when a contract of sale and receipt and or statement of account is sent to you, depending on who you're working with, they will send it to you electronically, because a lot of the time some of you are even based abroad, so you have it in your email. That's why when you're filling your form, also the information you're filling in the form, you have to be very careful that you must make sure that your email address is correct and is a functional one. Because some of the time I've seen situations where people say, I did not get it. Okay, when we now go back and forth to check the email, this is the email you feel. You're like, oh, I don't use that email again, and all. So be also careful the email you fill. That is very important. When they send you the e-copies of these things, you read it, go through it. Make sure that everything is captured. Yes, your realtor is supposed to do that, but sometimes we can miss it. You shouldn't miss it as an investor. I'm just saying it. I'm just saying. So if I miss it, you miss it as an investor, that's a problem. Okay? When you go through it, we said I'm buying this property 60 million naira per unit. Make sure that 60 million naira is written for you, and then the other fee is attached. Just make sure that everything you have seen in the form, you have agreed to. I'm sweating. Oh yeah, how come the three of you are looking at me? I can't see the sweat and can't see. So please just ensure that you read through the receipt, if it's a statement of account, and then the contract of sale. Now that contract of sale is very, very important. Read through it, understand it, read through the terms and condition, other terms and condition, because the other terms and condition that cannot be captured in the FAQ will now be captured. For instance, what you can build. Most contract of sale has it. What you can build, the setback that is important in the estate, other things that will come up in the estate later. So those are very, very important that you read it, understand it. I usually say that I know that some investors, they're already used to, they've been buying property for a very long time. So some of these terminologies, they're already used to it. So they can, in a way, read and understand it. But if you cannot and you're new, just get a lawyer to kind of, read it for you. And then you sign. This part, I don't know why some investors are like that. You will pursue them. Please sign the contract of sale, sign the contract of sale and bring it back. J mama, J. So just make sure that you read and understand and sign. That's not what I was going to say. But that's not what I was talking about. Please, it is important that you read and sign on time. People I don't know. Sign on time and document. Why? Because you can document it and move to the next level. You will see some people would have finished with their transaction, finished paying for a property, maybe under 1 year payment plan. You now realize they've not signed their contract of sale. Please, trust me, it happens to me as well. I don't know why, but it can be that. So just get on it. Once you receive it, I advise you read immediately. You're busy, I get that, but read and sign and send it back. It's usually the back page, the last page, where you have to sign your own and then sign a witness sign, and then you send it back. Now, in this aspect as well, is 2 categories. For some companies, they will sign their own part and send it to you. But a lot of them these days, they don't sign their own part. They wait for you to read it. When you're okay with it, you will sign your own part, send it to them. That's when they will now sign their own. The company MD will sign, and then I think the secretary, there's a space for secretary. The secretary will sign, and then they document it. Okay, they will send you the signed copy. Of course, that's where your realtor comes. I don't know the realtor you are working with, but for us, we then pick up your hard copy and send it to you. For those of you who are abroad, most of our clients are abroad. So that's the process. Now we have gotten to like another level stage of that transaction, especially when you're doing payment plan. But those who do outright, of course, when you are done with your payments down, all of your receipt has been given to you. How much you have paid is captured, and then now what next? That's what people say. For those of you who do installment plan, when you're done with your payment, you pay for your order fee. For a property that is not all-inclusive, you pay for your order fee. I've seen a situation where people will just pay for the property, the land or the house, and then they take it a while to pay for that fee, which is okay, I understand. The only difference is that you have to, when you pay everything on time, you will get your allocation on time. When you wait to pay other fees later, you will get your allocation when you're done later. So that's just the difference between it. If you pay everything now, you get allocation, you'll be part of the first batch of get allocation. If you pay later, you will get your allocation at that later time. All right. I just need to differentiate that. Now, when you're done with everything, people say, now I've paid for the land, I've paid for the other fee, documentation, and all of that. What next? You will now wait for allocation, both on house and land. This part is where we all get on the edge, including me as a realtor. And I want to just say, I don't have control over these parts. Yes, I know a lot of you will expect that the realtor should perform magic. Yes, we have influence with these real estate companies, but a lot of the time we don't have control. Influence is not control. Okay, so you have to wait for the batch of allocation. Some is batches, some estate is batches, some is not batches. It's just, oh, okay, you're done now. We can influence and say, please, can we get this person allocated? And you know, sometimes when we introduce a property, especially landed property into the market, they survey the layout, you know, and the survey they had worked on initially is always changing. So maybe at the point where you're done with your payment, you want to do allocation, they're working on a new layout. And without that new layout out, they can't do allocation for you. So I want to plead with you people to be patient as well. You know, I'm hoping and looking forward to us getting to a point where allocation will be more instant than it is. Okay. And let's clear that part. Now, for the houses, especially people that bought off-land projects, that one is extra. You need extra patience. That's where a lot of work comes in for us. Honestly, it's so much work. Oh God, it's so much work. Because, like for me in Nigeria, now I had to have a department. I had to create a department last year to say, okay, you know what, you guys are projects. What you guys do is visit the sites almost all the time because of the number of people we have who are on offline, who they are building, and we need to keep checking what's up, being on the company, monitoring with them. We just couldn't leave everything to the company. We don't do that because we realize that if we do that, it's going to take more time. So, I mean, look at that. I have people I pay just to be moving around different estates, be checking, and then we give feedback, we give updates, we give like monthly, quarterly update. Oh, this is the level your house has gotten into. This is what we're doing next. This is what we're speaking. They said this, they said that, just to ensure that your allocation period is the time that has been stipulated. We are working on it, and then if anything change, we get across to you guys. So that's the process. And then final process on that transaction is allocation day. Okay, now whether it's land or house, when the house is ready, they will now give you a time. They will come and they will do handover. Now for some company, they'll just come and handover for you. Some other company, they will do pre-handover. Pre-handover means, okay, so they've not done every finishing. They probably have done almost everything. They'll say, yeah, come and check it. And then you say, oh, I don't want this here. You can check and make some tiny bits changes. And then they will now do final allocation. But for some companies, it's just when everything is done. I mean, like the avocado now, everything is done. We just show you your units. In fact, for avocado, the allocation is at 80%. Yes, all my clients who bought into the avocado, I got the allocation, their units at 80%. And a lot of the time at that 80%, they were done. What was just remaining was maybe small things which we were monitoring. Okay, then they should put the microwave. They've not put the microwave. Maybe they've not burned the gas burner, and maybe they've not fixed the heat extractor. Just those things, or tiny fittings that they need to do in some toilets or the rooms. Okay, and then maybe meter. Okay, they've not given me my meter. Where's the meter? So that's where my own job came in, sitting up with the client. And like I said, I mean, I just want to overemphasize, it's a lot of work. And that's why when I see some investors who say, oh, when this XYZ realtor is not doing this, I understand why they don't, because it's a lot of work. And you know, I mean, this part of the client, nobody pays realtors for it. I mean, you say that the realtors pay us, but then, I mean, so imagine you're on a project for 2 years and that realtor is going back and forth to the site doing logistics, which is why, honestly, large part of my clients, I really appreciate them, because I mean, on their own, they're like, they're doing a lot of work. Okay, so this is it. Please cover logistics and all of that. So I appreciate a lot of those clients who do that. But trust me, some realtors, when they leave it to the company, it's just them avoiding the cost and the stress that comes with it, which is a lot of work, because one person can't do it. You have to have multiple people who do that. Okay, visit these different locations, check it, and you know, with this current inflation and everything, is anyways, when you do that and the final D-Day is here, your keys are handed to you, they will now hand over your documents, which is your survey, your deed. That's what you're going to be getting that day, and the letter of allocation. Of course, depending on the company, before you even get to that D-Day, you have gotten letter of allocation. I mean, people who bought from Epic, you have gotten your letter of allocation. The avocado I'm talking about, Queen's Garden, you have gotten your allocation way before them, okay? Because you would have, at that 80% for landmark, landmark houses, you would have known what your this thing is. But maybe for land, is the day they allocate, that day for landmark. When you buy a land, is the day of allocation, like Homefront, Fairmont Green, like that, Lakeview. It's the day of allocation that you get your allocation letter, you get your deed of assignment, and you get your survey. Okay, people like Gracias is the same day, but recently, because of the kind of properties that they sell now, all those Cora, all of that, you even get your deed of assignment before a physical allocation is done. I remember in Metro Bay, we had a lot of them when they had that water thing, it was raining seriously. They just say, okay, instead of delaying people, they've allocated you, but you will not see your land physically. So we just got the surveys, the deed of assignment, allocation letter, and just moved on. And then on a later day, they go to the site and see it. I always say that the most important thing in an allocation process, especially for a land, is when you receive your survey and deed of assignment. Okay, so I think that's about everything. Of course, the house, you get the key to your house, you move into your house, and then you start to do whatever you want to do. They might, they still do for land, they do 3 to 6 months, depending on the company, to support you. When you move in, checking, you have to check if the water is working. That process is also a rigorous one. You have to check if the water is working, if the light is working, if everything is working. You have to check. So they will do after sales support for you, I think 3 to 6 months, depending on which company, just so that you're sure that everything is working right. And if it's not, they can make corrections in the right aspect. So that is the ABCD, A to Z. So that is the A to Z processes. Remember when I started, I said that it depends on the company. Someone should not come and tell me that I bought property in Kafancha. It's not like that. I bought in USA. It's not like that. Please listen very well. I did not talk about Kafancha. I did not talk about US. Even in Lagos, I'm talking about, it's based on the developers that we work with. Okay, of course, for some other developer, it is different. And I made the example of Legrand, for instance. Okay, so but the most important thing is that you always know your allocation will always be scheduled. That's the truth. It will always be scheduled. And I want to say that for investors, this is the point where you have to be patient, because sometimes we think that the allocation will be faster. It gets delayed. It gets to go back and forth and all of that based on the developer and based on peculiar situations on different estates. All situations or scenarios are not always the same. That's one thing I've learned in this business. One thing I've learned in this business is that not all scenarios are the same. Not all scenarios. They're usually not the same. So you cannot compare. In fact, when you're going into a transaction, you don't even know. Until you get into the middle or towards the end, you realize, oh, this one is also different. So I don't always say that all scenarios or situations are the same. So if you have any further question, let me know in the comment section, and I would, of course, reply you there. Or we can, if it's so much, we can always treat it on the next episode, or we just pick up an next episode and treat it. So which of these processes that I've just talked about do you not understand? Is it the early part, the middle part, or is there a step you think I missed out? No, there's no step I missed out. But just tell me, do you understand these processes? What do you think about these processes? There's always a room for improvement. There's always a room for learning and unlearning, of course, even on the part of we realtors, part of the developers especially. There's always a room for upgrading processes. Okay, I mean, with the advent of what is happening right now, a lot of us have to just be more innovative, and I see so many suggestions from especially our clients as well, and we're working towards just simplifying these processes and making it more what's the word now, for the lack of a better word, making it more easy basically for everyone involved. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for doing this with me. Of course, I'm your delightful host, Goodness Usman, the queen of landlord makers. You know that one responsibility that I have is to always bring you guys valuable information that will help you as a real estate investor in the Nigerian real estate market to make informed decision when you're investing, whether you're buying a landed property or you're buying a house, finish or plan, whatever category you fall into. And I'm also here to help you go through this process. I mean, this entire process I talked about is what we go through, is what I go through with you. I don't, like I always say, that for us, it's not just about linking you with the property. I get a lot of things. I mean, like 2 days ago, I was in a site and there's a client with another realtor. And I just noticed that the client was looking at me. He kept looking at me, kept looking at me. Obviously, he knows me. And then when he got a window, when the realtor, I think the realtor stepped aside, he came to me and said, "Oh, thank you so much. Now, I actually bought this property from this realtor, but I get my update from you." I'm like, okay, I get that a lot, but it's okay. As well, I can help as many people as possible. So I understand that it takes a lot. And for us, it's a mission of staying with you throughout the entire process, from you deciding what you want, trying to decide, helping you to decide what works for you, your resources at the time, to our location. We stay with you all through the journey. In fact, we move from that one. When we are done, we conclude that, we move to the next one with you. That's what we like here in Nigeria. And honestly, we have quite I always brag. My clients are amazing people. Yes. So shout out to all my beautiful, amazing, smart. Hey. I attract very smart, intelligent clients. They are. You cannot. Hey, my clients, they are very smart. It's not a lie. So honestly, even my developers, they know my clients are very smart. They're amazing people. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much. If you're watching, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. So we have come to the end of the show. Thank you once again for listening, for watching to this point. You are the real MVP. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like and share this video. Honestly, share this video with your friends and family, colleagues who obviously will be buying into the property, into the Nigerian market soon, or already in this market, so that they can pick one or two things here from what we have just discussed. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Don't forget to drop your comments. Don't forget to like and share this video. Don't forget to also share with us with the topic you want us to talk about on the next episode. So I say to you, yes, you watching me wherever you are, so please ensure that you remain safe and awesome just the way you are. And I say to you, what?